Hello, everyone, and welcome to the video series for recruitinginfo.com on the impact of the COVID crisis on college recruiting. Basically, youth sports has been shut down this spring, and that's going to have implications for the recruiting process. So we're reaching out to experts in recruiting all across the country and in many different sports to talk about what they're seeing, what they're expecting, so we can try to get a handle on what it's going to look like for the kids in the coming months and year. So I'm really pleased to be joined today by Roger Hornberger with Sconnie Lacrosse. He's out in the Midwest, which is an area where lacrosse has really been taking hold and growing fast. And thanks, Roger. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your program, and then we'll go from there.
Sure. So Sconnie Lacrosse runs a number of programs throughout the year here in Northeast Wisconsin. We support youth lacrosse and high school lacrosse. We are a not-for-profit lacrosse program, which makes us a little different. It's kind of like the coaches get paid, but there's no one, this isn't anyone's business. We're all a bunch of volunteers. We run programs throughout the year to 7-on-7 leagues, box leagues, and then we do run what's called Team Wisconsin under the Sconnie umbrella, and that is a travel team in the traditional what folks are familiar with, and that's for our more invested players in the area to be able to go get exposure and also play at a higher level for about a month and a half. Typically, we have tryouts. We do not have a year-long commitment to like, hey, you got to play for our team all year. Pay us $5,000 and we're going to give you a D1 dream. That's not what we're about. But we do want to get kids placed in the right lacrosse fit. We'll have maybe a D1 athlete, but I would say our focus is Midwest D3. Would probably be with a few D2s. There's not as much D2, and certainly we'll help a kid if he's interested in going East Coast or wherever.
So many opportunities at the D3 level in all sports and NCAA. I mean, there's really not only is there more slots, but there's often more money, not in the form of scholarships, but in the form of financial aid. So it's a great space to be in.
And we start with, hey guys, give us your academic list fit first, and then we'll talk about lacrosse fit. So that's kind of always been our my strategy working with kids, because at the end of the day, there's only I tell them all that not one of you guys that I've met yet is going to be in the PLL. So you're not going to do this professionally. So we got to have a right headset on there.
That's the right mindset, and I mean, that is a great thing about college sports. I mean, there is an elite that you could be looking at scholarships and you can be going to pretty much any school you want. But for the average player, it's a door opener. Really, if you pursue the school that is the right fit for you, it gives you that extra leg up in terms of your ability to get in.
And at the end of the day, I might be just helping them find a good club program, at the place they're trying to go. Because there are some really, like out here, we got University of Wisconsin Red team is a high-level team. They're good. They got 3 teams at the University of Wisconsin, so different deal. But again, when I start with the academic fit, then we go to the rest. So.
Absolutely. And Roger, what are you hearing, if anything, yet about play resuming, for the kids this summer?
Wisconsin's been sort of all over the news, right, in terms of re-entry from COVID. So we put together plans, and then we'll see what happens. Obviously, our high school season got canceled. We have got a tentative plan to do. We normally would have been in big, huge, massive Pipe City in Chicago, which is 36 fields, 6,000, 6 to 10,000 participants, etc. We still may go to what will be called Pipe City, but it may be split in half with part of it in Wisconsin and part of it in Indiana. It may still resume in Chicago. We're still planning on it. So we are basically, what we said is we will do what we can based on the data we have in July, extending into August 2nd, 3rd. Then after that, we are big believers in multi-sport, and we're just going to have to, cut our losses at that point and say, hey, football guys, go play football. Hockey guys, go play hockey. And we have in the past run fall programs for recruiting purposes, and also get the kids that are all in and don't play a fall sport. But we only do it when our membership asks for it, and we've done it. We've had teams, but we haven't. So fall's out there. I'm trying to figure out what's happening next Tuesday at this point.
Yeah. I mean, listen, it varies from sport to sport, but also hugely from region to region. I was speaking to a guy earlier that's a softball coach down in the Carolinas, and they were waiting to hear this afternoon from their governor if they might be able to start play this weekend. Which, obviously it depends on where you're located, and depends on sport too.
And here you've got this crazy situation of the governor had the whole plan laid out, and then there was a lawsuit, and the judges threw everything out, and we're all like, now what do we do? And our local programs a lot of times are counting on school facilities. We don't necessarily count on school facilities. We actually count on church facilities in a number of cases. So then it's like, okay, what do we do there? So I don't see on-field activities. The earliest I can see is mid-June right now, which isn't that far away, and things improve. The side note, but if Lake Placid doesn't happen for lacrosse, which is a huge lacrosse event for adults, I'll just be further depressed, because I go there every year, and we're hearing it might happen. But the weird thing with that is usually when I go play there, there's a lot of college coaches that I play with. So their recruiting could get upended if the blackout period, and maybe but the lacrosse typically has an August blackout period for coaching, which gives them the opportunity to go to Lake Placid and do whatever they want to do for a month without the recruiting burden. And I haven't heard if the NCAA has moved the lacrosse recruiting window.
I do not know. I'm going to be talking to some lacrosse club women that run some club lacrosse that are very, very involved in recruiting this week, and it'll be interesting to get their perspective, because they're a lot more clued in.
We're all guys now, but we're hoping to have women's lacrosse, girls lacrosse in the future. We do have some girls high school programs yet, but we haven't gotten to the level yet where we're looking for that. Yeah,
well, for all sports, and I think the recruiting rules will vary a bit from sport to sport in terms of what is the pattern of contact. When can you begin sending emails to the kids? When can you invite them, and that kind of thing? But certainly, in most cases, it seems like the sophomore and the junior year is really very critical. And we have friends with a daughter who's a really terrific junior player, and she's really concerned because this is when she can be showcasing herself, getting videos done, and it's tough. It's just not happening at the moment.
Yeah, the 2021s. If I was a 2021 D1 kid, I'd be flipping out. If I'm a D3 kid, and even they shouldn't flip out. They should just control what they can control and do what they can do. But I think
it's an opportunity to, this season is so critical at that age group, because you really, it kind of points up the need to maybe, thankfully we moved away from where recruiting was starting in, 7th grade and 8th grade. I think
especially in lacrosse,
Yeah, but it does kind of point up the need that maybe when you become a freshman, you start building up your tapes and I don't know. But
Yeah, I mean, I have kids. I have like one kid that's a 2022 that's got some freshman film,
yeah,
and other than that, he doesn't have anything, right?
right. And
So
it's not going to be as strong
yeah,
as what he would have gotten this year.
yeah.
So, are you hearing um, anything from the college level in terms of
Well,
how they're going to change, like college visits and that thing? I guess it just that'll vary from college to college.
yeah, it's. I have heard so people who had a prospect day in June move them to it. Sign up for it.
Yep,
It's now going to be August, September
yep.
type of thing. I've heard, hey, we still looking good for the fall,
Hmm.
and then you've heard, I don't know,
Sure.
So it's been a mix.
Same with the
I think
disease itself. I mean, who knows? Like, hopefully, in the dead of summer, maybe it fades like the flu, and maybe there is that opportunity in August and September. I think it's going to compress a lot of things. I mean, the whole once things are open, events, whether it's sport recruitment events or uh, fundraisers for charities or whatever it is, are going to
yeah,
be heavily compressed into the fall of this year.
yeah. I think also, I think the coaches are. I feel bad for them, man. Some of them have been furloughed. Uh,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
their budgets are cut.
yeah,
I don't even. I think I've been reading a lot of the stuff on social media and other webinars and stuff, and there's some real concern. Even if we're COVID okay to go back to the field, what's it going to look like? Because these colleges are losing their revenue base for the first half of
yeah,
next year. Certainly, if kids decide, and parents, it only takes 18%, and all of a sudden, you're talking a pretty big number.
yeah.
You saw I don't know if you've heard what happened at Furman. They dropped their baseball and lacrosse program.
I hadn't heard that now.
But Furman University, they went D1, started a program 7 years ago, and I think it was 2 or 3 days ago, they cut the whole thing.
Jeez. I mean, there's two.
That, so think about that from a recruiting standpoint. You got
Right.
a roster of 45, 50 kids that are all D1 talent
Yeah,
playing
the
SoCon,
pool of
and
demand
they're
is
going to
gone.
go. They're going to go. I mean, you
Yeah,
would imagine maybe 5 or 10 of them stay because they love Furman and decided
right.
don't want to, I don't know, but the rest, like I know one kid from my own personal high school, kind of heard through, from the high school I went to in New York a million years ago, that he's, going to go to another school and play. So that, if you think, and I'm not, again, as I said earlier, we're primarily D3, but when I think about the D1, it's all going to trickle down because
Sure.
those 40 kids who are now much more proven assets than a prospect,
Yep.
right? You already know what they look like on a college field. For a coach, that's going to be a sure bet in terms of what they're going to show up like. They've already didn't quit as freshmen or they didn't quit as sophomores and they're
Right.
working out and they've gotten bigger. You're going to take those transfer kids at a D1 level, but that's going to have a trickle down effect, right? Because
Yeah.
all those kids that were, I got to do D1 and now they're going to get pushed down into the D3 ranks, and then you're going to have even smaller. God forbid. I hope more schools don't make that decision to cut sports. But I hate when they say non-revenue generating because in lacrosse that's not true. If
Mhm.
you really do the math, lacrosse is maybe a unique position, but you got 45 roster spots. They only got 12 and a half scholarships. So in lacrosse, it comes down to what's the discount rate, right?
Right.
If you're a D3 school, they're actually attracting kids to the school.
Yep.
It would be, and I'm in
Great
business, I'm
point.
in my regular job. It's like firing your sales team. If
Yeah.
you get rid of those college recruiters, the
Yeah.
college coaches, they're bringing kids to your school. And so many people, there's been a lot of colleges that have said, hey, we're primarily female, so let's start a guys lacrosse program, or it could be vice versa, right? Well, then that coach becomes a salesperson to get more, more folks in your school.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
what the heck is the college experience? I think sports plays a huge role in the college experience, and
Absolutely.
just as valuable as yeah, you got to learn your chemistry or whatever it is you're there to learn from a discipline, but you learn teamwork, you learn all those life skills that you get from being a team coach,
Yep.
being a team player,
Yeah, the
and
statistics bear that out.
absolutely,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, the
So
outcomes for youth athletes are higher almost any way you measure it.
yeah,
And there's I think on the financial side is going to be a big deal because, like you said, I mean, every college, I don't care who you are, is going to be under some financial pressure, and it is, there is going to be a tendency to say let's cut athletics, and the other issue there too is a lot of these sports programs, these clubs are small businesses. A lot of them are hanging by a thread. Uh,
yeah,
it's I work with a volunteer rec league, and I think that space is probably going to have to pick up a lot of the slack in terms of supporting. You've got parents that don't have as much money. You've got the businesses that are going to struggle, and then you've got it up at the college level. So it is a long-term, I think, pressure on youth athletics that's going to
yeah.
happen.
I think the youth, so one good thing for us is we are not profit. We're not sitting here with a bunch of employees, assets, liabilities. We don't have any of that. I mean, we have the money that we put out there for hotel blocks and whatever fees to the tournaments, and we understand they're all essentially small business owners, and they're great friends of ours and part of the whole ecosystem of the thing, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's going to be, I mean, you hear like, hey, we got 50 employees and you can't run a tournament. Oh my God, what are they going to do?
Yeah.
So,
Well,
um,
hopefully, that step one is if these kids are able to safely get back and start playing, and hopefully we're going to see that really soon. I think it'll be a spectrum of across this summer, and hopefully by August we're all back in gear and just doing the best we can.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
We'll
Roger,
see.
this was really terrific. I really appreciate your input on this, and I'll stay in touch with you. And thank you so much for sharing your guidance and your thoughts on this subject.
Sure. Yeah. I'm passionate about it and just hope to see it return as quickly as we can because I think it's, my parting thought is I think sports and the way U.S. treats it makes us a better country than, and I know what the model is in other parts of the world.
Yep.
And I just think I know exactly what it looks like in Europe and I know the way we act here. And I think it's part of what makes it, it's a good society. So
That's a great point and a great way to close. Thank you. Thank you, Roger.